executing a waypoint 1 or approach 1 burn to push in right along the docking axis, really straight in towards the docking. Now we're starting to see those views from the International Space Station, those high-definition views looking down at the Dragon spacecraft, which is currently 330 meters, hugging that the outside of that keep-out sphere, making its approach from below the International Space Station to right above. We're about to cross into an orbital daytime, so you'll start seeing the views of the Dragon spacecraft itself as well as the views behind it start getting a little bit brighter. Right now the space station is right over the center of the Pacific Ocean. It's about 260 statute miles. It's hugging the Terminator line, which right now is really cutting right down the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So we'll start seeing some views of the Pacific Ocean, perhaps some cloud coverage here very shortly. So you can see the camera start to really change as we get more illumination on the spacecraft itself. The cameras themselves are controlled from a console here in Mission Control Houston. That position is called Cronus. They have full autonomy over the control of the cameras on the outside of the International Space Station, able to adjust the zoom, the focus, the exposure. So they're working right now to do exactly what you're seeing here, to zoom in, focus on the spacecraft a little bit more and change the exposure so we can see the spacecraft and those plumes coming from the Draco's thrusters a little bit clearer. The Dragon cargo craft, about 312 meters from the International Space Station. It really doesn't change in distance as it makes this maneuver from below the International Space Station to right in front. It really hugs the outside of what's called the keep-out sphere, which is roughly 180 to 200 meters away from the International Space Station. So it maintains that distance as it goes in front. But as it makes this maneuver, the timing here could not be more perfect. We're about a little more than halfway from below the space stations to right in front. So if you were looking at a clock, we'd be somewhere around 7 or 8 o'clock. And that just happens to line up perfectly with an orbital sunrise over the southern Pacific Ocean. Everything looking good. The teams now are on a go-no-go poll for proceeding past waypoint 1 and executing the approach 1 burn. So this means when it's right in front of the International Space Station, really right along the docking axis, if we get that go, they'll go ahead and proceed with initiating those thrusters. There's no need to pause at that waypoint. The waypoint is roughly 220 meters directly in front of the International Space Station. That go is really also a go to proceed past waypoint 1 and cross into the keep-out sphere. Again, that poll is underway. Dragon's approach continues to look good. We're a little over 300 meters from the International Space Station, just taking in some fantastic high-definition views as it makes its way to waypoint 1. Regaining those views, we'll be handing over for some of the satellites throughout today's coverage. Those tracking and data relay satellites that are in geosynchronous orbit, a little more than 23,000 miles away from Earth. But we're getting those views now and enjoying them as we cross the terminator line into an orbital sunrise over the southern Pacific Ocean. We did get confirmation from Allison Bollinger, the flight director here in Mission Control Houston. Mission Control Houston is go to proceed past waypoint 1, which means once we rendezvous with waypoint 1 here in approximately 9 minutes, we'll go ahead and execute the approach 1 burn and push in from about approximately the 220 meter mark straight in into the keep-out sphere towards waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is a holding point about 20 meters away, so that'll be the first and likely only hold until we get the go to proceed in towards a contact and capture on the forward end of the International Space Station. We are making some great progress, so we're still targeting 10:13 a.m. Central Time to make contact.
For Block Bravo, range is 299. Vehicle is approaching the corridor. Orientation is as expected.
Houston copies, concurs with all.
That was the voice of Jessica Watkins from on board the International Space Station. Again, she's working with Bob Hines, the two of them monitoring Dragon's approach, reporting great trajectory for the Dragon spacecraft. It is well on its way towards what's called the approach corridor. It's a cone-shaped range, really, that's in front of the International Space Station, and it sets the stage for Dragon making its approach. It's still on its way to waypoint 1. We got about 7.5 minutes until it makes it to there. We'll execute that approach 1 burn to push slowly in. The range rate is very slow at this point. You can see it's making very methodical approach to that point. We're at about 0.09 meters per second, but everything is looking good. So again, Dragon continuing its approach. You can see some of the plumes from the Draco thrusters as it makes its way towards waypoint 1. We're about a minute away from waypoint 1. Now, based on the latest calculations of the trajectory, we are going relatively slow, so we have a new time that we're aiming for docking. That's 10:18 a.m. Central Time. "30 seconds to waypoint 1. What you're seeing is approach 1 burn underway.
Station Houston on 2 for rendezvous status.
With you on 2.
Dragon is transmitting docking camera video, so please confirm video and data are updating in the Dragon docking monitor. And if you bring that up on SSC-17, we can follow along on the ground as well.
Copy and work on SSC-17.
Copy, Waddy, and while you're working on that, just want to let you know that Houston and station are go for Dragon to approach to 20 meters.
Copy, go to 20 meters.
And Waddy, we like that video.
And Houston Station has good DDM video.
Houston copies and concurs.
And with that, you heard Jessica Watkins reporting they've got good video. This is what she's looking at. This is her screen, her and Bob Hines, NASA astronauts taking the monitoring role, watching CRS-25 push in for a docking after successfully executing the Approach 1 burn, confirming from here in Mission Control Houston that burn looked good, so we're pushing in, and we're proceeding into the Keep Out sphere towards waypoint 2, the 20-meter hold. Getting great video from the Dragon through that Common Communications for Visiting Vehicle, or C2V2, a connection between the Dragon vehicle and the International Space Station that's providing that linked video directly from Dragon to the International Space Station. So we're pushing in. We're a little under 180 meters at this point. Inside the Keep Out sphere, making a slow and methodical approach to the waypoint 2 holding point, about 0.3 meters per second. We're anticipating waypoint 2 arrival in a little less than 8.5 minutes. And again, the new estimate for a contact time where CRS-25 will make physical contact with the forward end of the International Space Station. The new target that we have is 10:18 a.m. Central Time. Now only 140 meters from the International Space Station, zooming in from the external cameras provides fantastic high-definition views. We'll be seeing illuminated views of the Dragon spacecraft from here on out until we make physical contact with the International Space Station. We'll be in orbital daytime until that docking time. Everything's again looking good for that approach right now. Flight Director Allison Bollinger going around the room here in Mission Control Houston, getting a poll from each of the flight control positions to ensure that we are go to proceed past the waypoint 2 holding point. Again, we'll make an assessment once we get to waypoint 2, but there's a chance we may push right after holding at waypoint 2. We may push very shortly afterwards towards a docking to meet that anticipated 10:18 contact time. But again, Flight Director Bollinger going around the room now to get a sense.
For Block Bravo, range is 123. The vehicle is in the corridor. Orientation is as expected. Vehicle mode is approach to align point.
We concur, so we see that takes you to step 3.
And again, NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins reporting the status of the CRS-25's approach at predetermined markers throughout the approach sequence. Again, everything continues to look good. We're pressing in towards waypoint 2, 20 meters away. Right now we're sitting at about 110 meters. And we did receive confirmation here at Mission Control Houston ahead of the waypoint 2 arrival. The Dragon spacecraft itself is configured for docking, still maintaining great connection and great views from the Dragon spacecraft itself, looking at the International Space Station. When we cycle through those views, you can see the Crew 4 vehicle docked to the Zenith port, or the space-facing port. You see there'll be 2 Dragons docked to the International Space Station for about a month.
Houston Station on 2. We have reviewed steps 5 and 6, and we are ready for docking.
Houston copies that you are ready for docking. We'll let you know when we are there as well.
And it's seeming like we're not going to be holding at waypoint 2 for long. We did receive confirmation from Jessica Watkins, the crew on board the International Space Station. That's Bob Hines and Jessica Watkins. You can actually see the outline of the cupola from this Dragon view. If you look off to the right, where the Japanese module is, the gem, right underneath it, you can see the windows, the 7-bay window of the cupola poking out there, so you know that Jessica Watkins and Bob Hines have visual contact right now with the CRS-25 vehicle that's 66 meters away. So there go, and we did receive confirmation from the mission director out in Hawthorne, California, that the teams there at SpaceX are also go. Again, Allison Bollinger here in Mission Control Houston, polling her team to make sure that the Mission Control team here in Houston is go. That poll being conducted ahead of the waypoint 2 arrival, which is expected 2 minutes from now. As long as everything looks good, we won't be holding at waypoint 2 for long, and we'll press in for docking. With that, we got confirmation from Allison Bollinger. Houston flight is go for docking. So we'll hold at the waypoint 2 once we get confirmation of a good hold. Don't expect to be holding there for very long before we push in for docking. That waypoint 2 arrival is expected in about 15 seconds. We're sitting at about 23 meters. Again, that hold is at 20, and we're slowing down our range rate to about 0.15 meters per second and going down.
Station Houston on 2, the Dragon hold we performed at waypoint 2 was very brief, so Dragon is now resuming approach and go for docking. You can go ahead and monitor for steps 5 and 6 in 1.102, Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Copy, go for docking after a short hold, and we'll go on steps 5 and 6.
Good copy.
And as anticipated, the hold at the 20-meter waypoint 2 point was very brief. The Dragon CRS-25 vehicle pressing in for docking.
Approach to docking port. Prior range is decreasing. And range is 14 meters.
Houston copies, concurs. Good report.
Good report from the crew. That approach from the waypoint 2 holding point is looking good. We're pressing in towards a contact and capture. Now we are temporarily losing that video from the International Space Station. We should regain it shortly, but we do still have good data flowing in from the Dragon vehicle. We're about 10 meters away. You're getting a live view of the International Space Station flight control room. Flight Director Allison Bollinger leading the teams here, monitoring Dragon's approach. Jessica Watkins and Bob Hines aboard the International Space Station also monitoring, and then of course working hand in hand with the SpaceX flight control team out in Hawthorne, California. 9 meters in closing.
Houston on 2, primary range is decreasing, range is 5 meters. Vehicle is centered, largest excursion observed is 1 degree.
Houston copies, good report.
All right, 4 meters in closing. Everything continues to look good. Now, we don't have views from the International Space Station, but with the data that we're receiving and the reports from the crew, we are proceeding towards a contact here shortly. 3 meters in closing.
Stop.
Copy, chop.
Crew hands off point.
One meter.
1 meter in closing. And we're getting views right at the last second.
Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
10:21 a.m.
Soft capture complete.
10:21 a.m. Central Time, 11:21 a.m. Eastern, 267 statute miles. Audible laughter from here in Mission Control as we do lose views right after a confirmed capture. We did get those views, though, to see it actually go in, which was fantastic. But we did have a confirmed soft capture at 10:21 a.m. Central Time. The International Space Station and Dragon spacecraft were over the South Atlantic Ocean, 267 statute miles.
Station Houston, ring retraction in progress.
Station copies.
So that soft capture ring, again, we have a confirmed soft capture. That ring is retracting. It's pulling the Dragon in closer to the International Docking Adapter. That white structure you see, that's at the very tip of the International Space Station. That black structure being the pressurized mating adapter. We're looking at the very forward end of the International Space Station from one of the cameras that are off on the Japanese exposed facility. We did have that soft capture at 10:21 a.m. Central Time. We're pulling in using that soft capture ring. We'll continue to provide coverage until we get past a hard mate with the International Space Station. After that soft capture ring is fully retracted, pulling that Dragon in for a nice tight seal, there's 12 hooks that will actually hard mate and hard dock the vehicle to the International Space Station. They are latched in gangs of 2 gangs of 6, so 6 at a time, and then we'll have a hard dock with the International Space Station. But we did have that soft capture 10:21 pulling in with the soft capture ring, and we're standing by for a good soft capture ring retraction and a good hard dock. We'll continue to provide coverage until then.
On 2, we see undocking complete, sensors 1 and 2 off OFF and have started the stopwatch.
We concur, and our status is that ring retraction is now complete, so docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration. We're working that from the ground.
Copies all.
And you heard that soft capture ring has fully retracted, meaning the soft capture ring did its job of pulling the spacecraft in for a nice seal with the international docking adapter on the forward end of the International Space Station. There is very fine-tuned, very calculated attitude control maneuvers that the attitude control officer. Yeah, there we go. The International Space Station attitude control has to be configured prior to those hooks driving to be on control moment gyros only. The ADCO officer that you see at the bottom of your screen has just confirmed that the space station itself is using gyros only to hold the attitude in place, meaning we're in a good configuration from the space station side to proceed with driving those hooks for a hard mate. And Flight Director Allison Bollinger just gave that go to the mission director.
Station Houston, MCS is configured. We're proceeding with hook driving.
Copies. We see CMG only.
Capcom Michael Ellsworth.
Your stopwatch is no longer required.
Copy all.
Capcom Michael Ellsworth reporting to the crew that sequence is underway. Jessica Watkins confirming from the International Space Station. Again, she's working with Bob Hines, but both of them monitoring Dragon's approach and watching the sequence unfold. We are proceeding towards driving those hooks. And we got confirmation. Again, there's 12 hooks that create a hard mate between the Dragon spacecraft and the International Space Station. 6 of them have driven and have closed. We have a good latch on those first 6. The other 6 are driving. And we got confirmation the last 6 hooks have driven and are closed. The soft capture ring is stowing, and we're waiting for confirmation of a successful hard mate to the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2, hard capture complete.
Station copies, hard capture complete. Congratulations to the SpaceX and NASA team on a successful rendezvous and docking of SpaceX CRS-25. When faced with unforeseen challenges, this team remained vigilant and focused, ensuring today's delivery of groundbreaking science and crucial supplies to the International Space Station. We look forward to executing the remainder of the mission with you all. Welcome aboard.
Station Houston, we appreciate those words. Get some cheers around here as well.
Fantastic. Thanks for all the hard work.
And some words from NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins on board the International Space Station. She was next to NASA astronaut Bob Hines, watching Dragon's approach and monitoring, making sure that the 5,800 pounds of precious cargo inside that spacecraft made its way successfully to the International Space Station, and it did. We had a soft capture confirmed at 10:21 a.m. Central Time this morning. And we did get past a good hard mate with the International Space Station. With that, with an on-time docking to the International Space Station, the crew's day is not quite done. With successful approach monitoring and a successful hard capture, teams will work together to open up the hatches, making their way until eventually the Dragon hatch is opened and they have access to the precious cargo inside the Dragon spacecraft. That hatch open is expected to occur in approximately an hour and a half, shortly after noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The crew will have access to the cargo inside, and they're scheduled to, later this afternoon, begin transfer operations, taking some of the critical cargo from inside the pressurized part of the Dragon spacecraft and bring it inside the International Space Station. Their space station flight controllers switching attitude control back to normal with a successful hard mate. And they'll proceed for the rest of the day getting some of that cargo from inside the International Space Station. It's been quite a journey after launching 8:44 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:44 p.m. Central on July 14th, making a journey over a little more than a day and a half to rendezvous and make contact with the International Space Station at 10:21 a.m. Central Time this morning, July 16th. That time was 10:21 at the time. The space station and the Dragon spacecraft are 267 statute miles over the southern Atlantic Ocean. We heard congratulatory words from NASA astronauts Jessica Watkins and from the teams in Mission Control Houston. With that, that'll wrap up our coverage of today's rendezvous and docking operation. CRS-25 officially attached to the International Space Station and will be for the next month. With that, this is Mission Control Houston.